Welcome to Blinkers Off with your hosts, Jared Welch and Aaron Halterman.
Yeah, you
what
guys
is up?
live.
Well, Jay, we're live, guys. Welcome to the whole team here, Racing Dudes. We're live at the Breeders Cup here in, we'll say we're in Santa Anita. We're not really technically right at Santa Anita, but we are in California. What's up, guys? Couldn't be happier.
Hello.
Hey.
Samich.
We got the whole
Ryan.
team. We got Samich. We got our boy Ryan. Look at Ryan's in the house. Got back to California. Last time we saw Ryan, true story. The last time he was out here, right before COVID.
Yeah.
Pre-COVID Breeders Cup. So welcome, Ryan.
Cannot wait to be sitting with you guys tomorrow in the press. It's crazy 4-year wait, and wow, this Breeders' Cup, guys, can you believe we are finally here? What a year. This feels like a perfect 3-act structure of a year. You have had everything go wrong, and I feel like it's going to just pull through at the end and be an amazing finish.
Okay.
Don't you guys? That's my hope. Sorry.
I expect big things for the brand over the course of the next
Yes.
couple days, right?
Yes.
Of course, Halterman's here, and you can't see. Shotty's somewhere here.
What's
there you
up?
go. There's Shotty. And of course, yourself, myself
Yep.
is here as well. So, guys, welcome. And what do you guys want to talk about?
I want to prove we're in the same room.
Oh, yeah, that's a
Oh,
tradition.
God.
That's a tradition. Yep. All right, we're all here. Yep.
Oh man! All right, guys. It's hard to believe that we're here. Friday tomorrow is the kicks off the Future Stars Friday. We got 5 Breeders' Cup races. Samich kicks off the BCBC tomorrow. Any, we'll get into the races, but any thoughts you're at least initially thinking as far as going into it tomorrow, or you saved a lot of your bullets for Saturday?
I'm going to go ahead and jinx myself here. This is the most excited for 2 days of BCBC betting I've been since I played this tournament. I think this is one of these 2 cards are both absolutely wide open from a betting perspective. Last year, we were joking when we were at the house at Keeneland. You have 5, 6, 7 favorites that are all going to be sub 2 to 1. You've got a couple that are going to be sub even money. We're going to have 2, maybe 3 of those in these 2 days.
Yep.
And so you have the opportunity to actually make some serious money with favorites. If you like a favorite at 3 to 1, at 7 to 2, at 4 to 1. And you also have the opportunity to look for a bomb because there are some really wide open races. And we're going to talk about the Philly and Mare Turf today. That's one of the more interesting races to me because the best Europeans didn't come over.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, there's 8, 9 different horses that I think are all playable in that spot. So I love the idea that it's a significantly better betting card than we've had in the last couple of years. Now, we don't have the flight line, right? Not the, maybe Inspiral, you could say, is that horse that's like the superstar. But because of that, it's a lot more even playing field in every one of the races. So I'm looking forward to this weekend. And I'm going to go win the BCBC.
Wouldn't you say it's a little bit?
Called.
Yeah, I love it. Wouldn't you say it's a little bit more? You don't have to be quite as cute with your betting. You can get more cute with the horses that you use because those prices are there, like you said. You're not going to have to get real creative betting wise.
No, and you can also last year specifically, there were some of these back-to-back races where you're gonna have sub even money favorites where you thought these are really hard horses to beat.
Yeah.
You got to bet $5,000-$6,000 doubles to get 4 to 1, 5 to 1. This year, if you pair up 2 7-2s, you're gonna get $30 doubles.
Yep.
Because they're deep fields, full fields with a lot of contention, and that just makes for a lot of better betting at shots. Because if you are right in back-to-back races, you're gonna get paid. And it's the same thing with the exotics here, where if you have 11 horses. Look at the turf sprint. The favorite's 9 to 2, and then there's 4 or 5 to 1 shots. Any trifecta pays.
Yep.
It doesn't matter because even if it is favorite, there's so many different options. You're still going to get paid on that number.
Yep.
It's and everyone. I think I've noticed so much this year is just going into it is even. Tamara Tamara is definitely the one that I think most people are leaning on. But having said that, every single race, whether if you love Cody's Wish, or you love Songline, or you love whoever, guarantee you'll find the equal amount of people that are saying, I'm beating that horse.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you don't normally have that where you have there is at least a couple races typically, I feel like, where you have, okay, we're all playing this horse. That's very clear. I'd be shocked. This one, I was talking to Samich last night, we were texting each other, and I was like, other than Tamara, is there a race that you would just be like, oh, I cannot believe that horse lost or won or whatever?
I don't think the guy has a single horse that's picking on top of
it
every
doesn't.
person.
This is the first time we've ever done a guide where we have a consensus picks, and I highlighted if we have everyone across the board.
Yeah.
Not one.
Yep. Think about last year. Last year there were 5.
Yeah, there were a bunch.
And so just a very different style of betting card over the 2 days.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
All right, guys, let's not waste any time. I know people love to hear us chat, right? But we're here to talk about one thing. That's the Breeders' Cup today. We're going to give picks for all 5 of the Future Stars Friday Breeders' Cup races. Of course, all juvenile races, including the $2 million FanDuel Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Let's go.
Riders up.
That's Ryan. Yeah.
And I'm Ryan.
And I'm Mike. And this. What did you say? What did you say?
The Magic Mike Show?
No, what do you say after you go? And it got silent. All right, guys, let's take a look at. Let me bring up the race.
Yeah. We'll start out with the Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint.
Hey.
There you go. Take it away, sir.
Race number 5, $1 million. Got a full field of 12 with there are 3 also eligibles. Aaron, we talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
It's George Weaver's world, and we're all just living in it in the sprint world. They've got 3 horses in this race, including Crimson Advocate and No Name Mets.
Yep.
When you handicap this race, what did you look for? Because I know your top pick is a terrible horse, but you still ended up there. So I want to know how you got there.
Yeah, I knew you would hate this, and I chuckled when I made this my final pick. I got that off. Samich will roast me right off the bat on this show.
Good post position.
And he did. So,
Well, I like number 12, Committee of One, and I think when you look at this situation, I see so much pace in this race this year. From the Weaver horses that you mentioned and from some other ones too. The thing that really surprised me is a lot of times these European horses that come over, they're not very fast out of the gate. That's not the case in this race. Big Evs is very fast. No Name Mets, obviously our horse, very fast. Crimson Advocate, very fast. I think this thing's going to melt down. I almost picked Give Me the Beat Boys at 15-1 because I do think that's one that's going to come from out of it. I kind of like that horse. End of the day, the 12 Committee of One, I think this horse is going to be flying down the stretch. I don't know if he's going to get all the way up there, but I think he's going to be a double-digit price. I think it's going to set up perfectly for him. It set up well for him at Keeneland, and he won. I think it's going to have this kind of set up.
Any concern about the 5 furlongs?
Not really. No, I just feel like, Gary just mentioned Slider. I just feel like that's another one that's fast and going to get out there. And I think all these horses are solid. I think they're good horses, but I just think it's got Meltdown written all over it. Not really worried about the 5 furlongs. More worried of, hey, they just didn't come back to him.
Yeah. Jared, what's the trend for this race?
the trend is what we've seen in the past. That's obviously a younger race, and as far as a lot of the races are concerned, but we've seen American turf speed. Like that's just been the MO for this race. Now we kind of bunked that. I think it was last year, right? With maybe last year or 2 years ago, when it just collapsed, right? It's absolutely insanity. Now that could happen, right?
Does it Go Bears go?
I don't know who got it last. I don't even remember who got it last year. They came flying. Yeah.
Give me a second. I'll look at it. But yeah, so to your point, Samich, that is why initially, if you got the betting Bible and you saw the 14 trends, I kind of highlighted a horse named Crimson Advocate in the race who has that speed, but also has the international flavor a little bit as well. So you kind of had both the best of both worlds with that horse that we know can go to the lead, but also has that kind of, won a Royal Ascot, obviously is a United States-based horse as well. So that's kind of where I went with that one, with that angle. But it just, I think this year, and we talked a little bit about this earlier, we had a lot of Euros with a lot of speed this year. Not just this race. I'm talking across the board. It seems like we've seen that more and more. I like Big Evs. I think this is a horse that's just – and I fully admit, like, I went into this race not planning to pick Big Evs. Like, I'm going to try to beat him. And the more I watched him, I just think this horse is kind of elite. Like, I think he just has that elite speed that we're not used to seeing from those Euros.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to your original thought. I got Crimson Advocate on top here. I love the post position from the one hole. If you look at the stats for Santa Anita going 5 furlongs, the 1 and 2 post positions, a huge advantage. His horse is speed through and through. Was able to win over at Ascot. George Weaver, not someone you'd think of sending horses over there, but he was able to go over there, get the job done. Lost to Brightwork, first race at Keeneland, came back at Gulfstream, able to go gate to wire on the turf, hop an 88 buyer. That's the high buyer in this field going into the race, and then goes and wins at Ascot, and now shipping back here for this race. A little concerned that we're trained up to this and didn't get any prep work in here, but I still think this is the fastest horse, and I love the rail draw, so I think that's a huge edge. One European, I think, is getting a little not enough love. The 6 Starlust, who's going to be one of the few where if you like Committee of One, if you like the horse coming from off the pace, Starlust is one of those horses that's going to be rallying late. That's a European. The Tory picks up the mount. To me, this is one of those where, look, I like the 1, 2, and 4. I'm not going for a crazy price in this race, but if you think it's going to collapse, then I start go price hunting.
I like that as well, and I think that was kind of my deal. I had Big Evs on top as well to get this thing started when I was doing handicapping on Monday and Tuesday. And Jared, I don't dislike the pick at all, obviously, but at the end of the day, I thought, you know what, I just kind of feel like Big Evs is probably going to be 3-1, 5-2. I just felt like, you know what, I'm not that confident in him. So I'm going to go price hunting, like Samik said. The Crimson Advocate pick makes a ton of sense as well. I just worry about the layoff a little bit for him, obviously. That's been a long time since we've seen this horse. And that is a worry for me. But obviously, if you can go over to Ascot and win, you're very good. You know, how could you argue that, right? No Name Mets, you talk about these Weaver horses. No Name Mets and Mitts Waves, these are good horses. So you could go so many different ways. My opinion on it is you try to get a price here. But that being said, if Big Evs wins, nobody's going to be surprised.
By the way, it was Mischief Magic. I don't know if we mentioned that.
You could have said 100 names, and I wouldn't have guessed that. Yeah.
Appleby, you had written. But before that, it was Twilight Gleaming, Golden Pal, 4-Wheel Drive.
Yeah.
Yes, they put that on the bingo card there.
Yeah, of course,
Twilight Gleaming and Bulletin to kick things off. So a lot of speed, a lot of quick American horses. And obviously, Wesley Ward up until last year had rattled off 3 straight wins of this race. So that was a good trend in itself. But out of the 5 races, we could go as we go. We'll kind of mention it. Like which one do you feel like has got the most upside for a huge payout? If people are saying like, okay, I'm playing the Big 5, or maybe I'm looking to take a shot with one. Which race is it? This one, or is it maybe the Juvenile Turf, like Fillies Turf?
I think the Juvenile Fillies Turf, and this one would be second.
Yeah, I would agree with Aaron, but this is my least powerful opinion, right?
I agree with that.
If we rank these races 1 to 5 in confidence, this would be my lowest confidence.
And that's why I didn't pick the favorite. You just said it better than I said it just a minute ago.
Yeah. We're used to that.
Yeah.
All right, so after we do a little talk here, any comments? Give me. Okay,
no, you
just jump in, Ryan or Scott, if you have a comment that you think people want to know. But okay, run through after we do a race. We'll just kind of final pick.
Crimson Advocate.
What are we doing? Committee of 1.
And I got the 4 Big Evs. All right, let's go to the next race here, which is Summage.
We're going to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, going to mile 16th over the main track. $2 million purse, 2-year-old fillies.
Very well. I mean, you know what? This is what a co-host should be like. I feel like. We're gonna take notes. All right, we got a large field here, field of 13. And listen, we talked about the races you're least confident, most confident on Friday. This one has to be the one you're most confident in, right? I mean, number 7, Tamara Mandela, Mike Smith, 4 to 5. John, our good friend John White, instilled this horse at 4 to 5. I think it's the lowest odds of the 2 days of the morning line. I mean, the question mark behind her is as simple as, is she going to go 2 turns? I mean, that's really the only question mark, because if you just base her off of what we've seen, the rest of them don't compare to her.
Yeah, she doesn't need the lead,
No.
so you don't have to worry about her getting cooked. The question is 2 turns, but Beholder never had any issues going 2 turns, now they're both the Oro. So you would think that that's not going to be a problem here. She's tactical speed, so she shouldn't get a bad trip. The post isn't bad, and it's not a great group of fillies. Like this, there's no world beaters in here outside of her. Like it's not one of those spots where, we'll talk about the Colts a little bit later. Much deeper contention in that race. To me, this is a 2-horse race. It's tomorrow and it's Candy. You pick the order, you play it cold, and you hope you get 6 to 1 on it.
I understand that people might want to try to beat her, kind of a balloon of price. That's a strategy for sure. I'm not going to talk people off trying to beat her, but I sat here and watched replays of all these horses all week long, and I don't see that she's going to lose. It's just that simple. And again, I told Shadi earlier, I said I'd be pretty surprised if she lost, but I'm pretty surprised a lot in this game, right? So that's just what it is. But she looks a lot better than everybody else in this field. I just really love how the horse was able to kind of turn it off, sit behind another horse last time out, and just get out away from him. Look, a lot of people are making the thing about the 2 turns. Here's the deal. If she had tried a 2-turn race already and didn't run very well in it, then I'd be with you. But when they haven't done it, you don't know if they're going to like it or if they're not going to like it. And to Samich's kind of point, there's nothing in the breeding that says this horse can't get 2 turns. And we were talking to John White a little bit earlier in the week, and John kind of pointed out, as good as she's been, the breeding kind of says she's going to be better going 2 turns. And so I know going 2 turns for the first time, that is a tough one. And I don't want to bet a favorite doing something for the first time. I get all those things, and I'm not going to try to talk you off of it. For me, my money's going to be on the 7. That's the single for me in this one.
Yeah, I mean, you guys pretty much have said it all. I mean, daughter of obviously Beholder, Mandela trained her mom as well, and so it's kind of cool that she looks a lot like her. And to me, it's like this was such a replay type of race for me. When I went through and handicapped and looked at them all, and really then I watched her and the debutante, I was like, oh, see, she runs a little different. And we talked a little bit about this on the airplane. It was like, okay, well maybe she's like, who knows? Like Candy could definitely be a good one. But when you look at these, look like Juvenile Fillies, and Tamara looks a little bit like an elite horse. Like she just looks a little bit ahead of what these horses are right now. Now, I'm not personally concerned about the distance because, kind of like you alluded to, she doesn't need to lead. And sometimes I think when you have a horse that speedy horse, sometimes that can kind of sneak up on them, especially when they're trying for the first time against good horses that have ran that far before. With her, Drew, right in the middle, kind of can sit outside of some of the speed if she needs. And I just, Mike Smith has ridden her both starts, riding her here, works her in the mornings. I don't know. I kind of with Samich here. I think it's as simple as, okay, I can't play her to win. She's 4 to 5. I get it. But if you play her, if it's not Candy, for me, it's Candy. But if it's not Candy, play her cold with someone else underneath and just say, okay, Tamara is the horse. Like, forget her. We got that one. Who's going to finish best of the rest? And then play it that way.
Yeah. I think the draw really helped her, like you said. And I think it hurt a horse like Just FYI, which is a horse I kind of liked. I kind of thought maybe that horse could pull a little bit of an upset. I don't know, from the 12 hole. That's pretty tough. Going 2 turns for juveniles. I mean, that's a really tough post. So the 12 kind of got hurt by it. I don't think the post kills Candy, the 1, but I don't think it's ideal, right? I don't think that's where she wants to be.
No, she doesn't want to be buried on the inside, especially coming from off it. So you're going to sit probably 5th or 7th on the rail around the first turn, and that's a lot of work to do for a 2-year-old because they need to either find their way through the rail, which is difficult, or they need to swing way wide, which is going to cost you ground. And tomorrow's going to have to jump on you. So it makes it tough for her to be able to really get the right trip to beat a better horse than her, because she would need to have a better trip than Tamara to be able to do that. And without showing a lot more speed early, I don't see how she's going to pull that off. Let's talk about, okay, we all like Tamara, right? We all like Candy is up there as well. Who's the price? Because you got to round this out in some way with a price. I've got one. We'll start with you, Aaron. Who do you like?
I like number 11, Life Talk. I actually put that horse in 3rd. I kind of liked her going into the last race. She did not run all that well in last time out, but Irad stays aboard here. Another one, I don't love the post, but I do think this horse will kind of make a run. I think that horse at 20 to 1 can definitely hit the board. So I like Life Talk, the 11.
Jared?
I kind of went back and forth, but I ended up last night kind of the more I dove into it, I thought the 6 Chalice.
Yeah.
Chalice. I don't know.
Whatever.
The more I watched that one, I thought, you know what? That's a horse that I think Mark Glatt trained. 8 to 1 on the morning line. Probably not going to get a ton of action either. Has rounded off 2 of the last 3 wins and a nice win last out in the Chandelier. Just a horse that I think, like you saw that when that mile 16th race really looked good going that distance, and has won from kind of stalking the pace, has won, going gate to wire, and obviously has a win over the track. So to me, that's a horse, kind of a horse for course type horse.
Yeah, when I'm hunting prices, give me inside speed. I'm going to go to Jody's Pride. Yeah. Jorge Abreu, Flavian Pratt stays on the mount. Horse went gate to wire both of the starts, both of them taken off the turf. They kind of decided, okay, we're going to deal with the dirt here. American Pharaoh out of a Scat Daddy mare. The horse should have no problem getting 2 turns. And who says she can't get loose? To me, that's the big argument, right? If she's able to get to the rail first, everyone backs off, and all of a sudden she's going, 23-48. She can get brave. So I'll go with the 2 Joyce Priders 15-1.
And I also the 12-1 on Brightwork is
crazy.
Yeah, is because I think that race from her last time was so bad. It's almost unbelievably bad.
I don't know that 12-1 is all that crazy because Vivi's Dream came back out of that race, didn't do anything next time out as well. So I think people might be looking at it as a situation of that just wasn't a very good race. I'm with you boys, though. It was too bad to believe from her. She's better than that. I think
I hope we get it.
I think you're going to get it.
If we get it, to me, she's a really good horse to play underneath. I'd be fairly shocked if she won.
Good exotic horse.
Yeah, I
Did you
noted.
finish second or third? Yeah.
I noted that Irad hopped off her, so I was like, oh, great.
It's
But
fine, yeah,
using underneath though.
I'm interested to see where she sits. I think that was a big issue in that Alcibiades, where she was close to a 23-4 pace.
Yeah.
I don't think she wants to be close to a 23-4 pace going that long. I think she wants to be mid-pack, maybe even 5-6 lengths off it, and then rally into it where she can use her sprinter speed late to be able to try and catch them versus trying to use her speed early and then hang on. It feels like that was the wrong tactics there.
I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. And, she just sometimes, listen, they're 2-year-olds. Sometimes they just don't run very well. You kind of have to be forgiving this time of year of horses that are in these type of races. They run a couple of times, something happens. They're not really used to maybe it was the pace. Maybe she just had a little something going on with her. She could bounce back. I think the biggest issue is that race it just kind of fell apart when Vivi's Dream ran so bad. I think everybody's disregarding it. So yeah, she's not for me, honestly, but I get it. You could make a case for a lot worse horses. Let's put it that way.
The trend here is that this is not a race typically that's been won by post-time favorites. However, when it has happened, it's happened twice in the last 11 years. Those horses were named Echo Zulu and Songbird.
So one good horse.
So, wow. Echo Zulu,
Shots
right?
fired.
Shots fired at EC.
Yeah.
Not a Songbird.
The point to that is when they are elite like those two are,
yeah,
it's not an issue of a cheap favorite or something winning the race. To me, Tomorrow fits that bill.
It's with Echo Zulu, one of the reasons she won so easily, it was a field of 6. And she was the only other speed.
Don't you slander hidden connections.
Come on. That's the thing. That was like the third choice. The Brad Cox horse was the second choice. But anyway, it's just what it is. She faced a pretty easy field and had a pace advantage. But look, I don't know. To me, all I can really do as a handicapper is watch replays of the horses and handicap them. And I'm sorry, she just looks a lot better than these horses.
All right, cold try to close it out.
Oh gosh, on the spot. I'll go 7-1. 7-1 with whatever is justifying. 12. 7-1-12.
Yeah, 7-1-11 for me.
7-1-2.
All right.
There you go. And by the way, comments are flying in. We love it. Keep them coming. We are very serious tonight. I think it's kind of coming across. 1, we haven't been drinking all that much.
No.
We just kind of got started with that. And 2, we're fired up, man. It's the Breeders' Cup. Our bets have not won or lost yet. So
we're all filled with hope.
We're very hopeful at the moment, right?
Yeah.
It's been a tough week, right, with some of the things that have been coming, with the issues, and we're just trying to enjoy that we're here and that we have some serious racing to talk about, because this is what we live for every year is the Breeders' Cup. It's great to have everyone together. So moving on, number 7.
The Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf. $1 million going a mile on the turf course for 2-year-old fillies.
Wow. You know what? The voice is getting better with each one. All right. This one might be the one, right, guys? This is
real quick. Confidence rating on the last race. 1 to 5. 5 being your most confident.
5 for tomorrow. Yeah.
It's the best bet. It's
no. It's
That's
not the best.
It's most likely.
It's the most likely winner.
Okay. Fair enough.
Jared and his 3 to 5 shots.
Well, okay. 3 to tomorrow. All right. So confidence rating on here, 5 or 1
On which? What? On
this race.
This is my favorite betting race of tomorrow.
Well, it's got to be because every horse in this race feels seemingly playable. Even a horse like Hard to Justify, it looks decent, right? It's 6-1. Every horse in this race is a price. I mean, even like a logical, and I say logical because it's going to be, tough to get one home, but like a, 3/6 or something.
Mm-hmm.
What's the exacted pay?
That exacted pay
Chalk is $32.
easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
Because there's so many options, there's so many combinations. You blow your mind if you go back and look at past, even races where like, that was way logical. The exacted might pay $15.
Yeah.
15 to 1 on that. So the payouts are there. You kind of alluded to that earlier, Halterman. The payouts are there.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean you have to go 20 to 1 underneath in every race. I mean, you can get there by playing logical horses. You just got to get the right combo there. So, Samich, thoughts on this one?
You want me to bury the lead, or you want me to just go right to the hole here?
Bury it.
This race is wide open, and this is one of those so for turf races, Breeders' Cup. I always look at European horses first. This is a weak group of Europeans coming in here. I think that's important to point out right out of the gate. I'm not saying they're bad horses. I'm saying this isn't the A team, right? This is the B team. This is the C team that's coming over from Europe, which means the U.S. horses and the North American horses have legitimate shots to be able to win this race. And to me, there's like literally 5 or 6 North American horses that I think can compete. I ended up with a price here, and I felt like this was a great race to go price hunting. I went with Launay, the 4-horse, 15 to 1 on the morning line. This is a horse that Madagat privately bought off of that Group 3 last time against the boys, by the way. Yeah. Note that was against the boys, not
I'm back. Hopefully this will work. I don't know. We'll see here if Jared's coming back. We've got Wi-Fi issues here at the house. Jared, we had you. There you are.
They lost.
Yeah, there we go.
As soon as Mike started talking about White.
Oh man, and then he was on, and he had a great.
Yeah.
Basically,
Mike went about that before for a long time.
That's
So.
Mike's only time he'll talk about his greatest launch.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
ready to make my case again here.
Yeah, get back on and make your case for the long shot.
well, you can, I guess. Yeah.
I like the 4 Launay. 15 to 1 on the morning line. Madagat stays privately purchased this horse after running a great three against the boys, which carried 126 pounds. Highest in her career, high weight in that race. She ends up running second, misses by a neck in that spot. They ship her over here specifically for this race. And note the 2 races she did not win.
Just say audio issues. Echo. Bad audio.
Uh-oh.
Is Jared's audio on?
Yeah. Probably.
Yeah, it was Jared's audio. Go ahead. You'll be good. It should be good now. Yep.
So I like the 4 horse.
One more time, Samich. One more
So I like
time.
the 4 horse Launay here. 15 to 1 on the morning line. This horse was privately purchased by Madagat Studios. I feel like I heard this on Madagat Stables, not Studios. After a Group 3 performance again. both over the heavy turf. They specifically brought this horse over to run on fast turf. I love the fact that it's going to fill the Amalo Turf Stakes trainer to train this horse for one of the top connections. I think Luann is going to absolutely kill it. And I'm not making the argument again. Get home at 15-1.
I think we're out again. So.
Magic 7.
Wow. Maybe this place is bad.
Hear me?
Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Who does Mike like? He likes the 1. No, I'm just kidding. The 4. He loves the 4. He loves the 4.
All right.
Yeah.
Everybody mute your mic and I can come in and. Okay.
We're back.
Maybe.
Are we back? Can you hear us? Someone give us a little alert here.
What are you in?
Yeah, this so the long story short, we got here earlier. Somich was having issues with streaming the game. We're like, oh shit. Seems like it was working well. We were on a roll, and then there you go. So love the you never know. You get an Airbnb.
Okay.
Usually the internet's not bad, but all right.
There we go.
Let's go because you don't know when it's gonna go out again.
Okay, Mike likes the 4 in this race.
I like the 4 Laune.
Loves it. I'm gonna tell you guys the reasons he listed were spectacular. The first take was the best take.
Yeah,
I guarantee you, it's worth playing. So
she's gonna like the firm turf, chipping in, facing the boys. Now it's the girls. Winner 15-1.
All right.
Who do you like?
Carla's Way. I like Carla's Way. I think it's a little bit more of the boring pick, but I do think the price is going to be pretty good there. I don't know that we're going to get 6-1, might be 4-1 or 5-1, but I think about everybody's going to be right around that as far as Carla's Way and Porta Fortuna, horses like that. So I really like Carla's Way a lot. I think she's going to be tough. I mean, I think she's coming in this race really, really solid.
Yeah, one of the 2 Europeans I think is going to factor into it. Porta Fortuna actually beat her a couple races back. Yep. I think that's the other really big European coming in here. It's O'Brien horse, Ocean Murphy flying over to ride this one. Won a grade 1 last time out. I think that's the big threat from Europe.
Yeah, and so Kevin brings up a good point. I do like this horse quite a bit. Number where is that? All the way the outside. The post, 14 votes for Les Havots. I don't know. Who beat your horse? I mean, the post to me was enough to kind of back off a tad. But man, I do think this horse has been running against good horses, been running well. I think at that price, you're going to get every bit of that 8-1 based off of kind of the other horses in the race. And so that's a live long shot for me. I do like the 3 on top here. Buchu, I guess, for Bauer Garcia. That's a horse that I'll be honest, like when I went into handicapping this race, I did not necessarily have like highlighted as this is going to be one I'm going to pick. But the more I watched this race or watched this horse, got to the turf 3 starts ago, didn't debut very well on it. And he came back, won really nicely the main special weight at Churchill Downs, and then last time out won the Jessamine at grade 2, and has done it just with ease, really, just kind of cruised by. This is obviously going to be a class hike but I like the way this horse is coming into the race.
Yeah, I think she's got a big shot. I mean, I mentioned I thought there were multiple North American horses. I think she's a player in there. I think Galibrand is one of those that's looking to bounce back off that race as the favorite in that spot. Now you're getting 12-1. That's a heck of a price on that horse. She feels pretty. The 11 horse for Sherry DeVoe, I think looked phenomenal up at Woodbine in the Tacoma. The question is that Woodbine form going to transfer over? And if you think so, that's your best North American horse. If she runs back to that race, she's going to be really, really tough to beat. On Les Pivots, that race specifically, 2 back, where she beats Launay, that was one of the 2 heavy races. The track was heavy that day, and one of my key parts of Launay is she wants the firm turf.
Well, sorry to interrupt, but one thing you have to keep in mind: those turf courses get wildly different when it comes to the weather. And like he just said, not all races are created equal over there. They run in some pretty poor conditions. And when that happens, you do get the weird results like that. Yeah.
This has been easily the most dominant turf race of the 2 days for Americans. We've won 12 of 15 runnings. I don't really know why that is. Juvenile, like why the Juvenile for the Juvenile Turf is so dominant with Euros. If you look at the Fillies, it's completely dominant for the U.S. I don't even know why that. I mean,
it doesn't make sense, but
12-15, that to me is enough of a trend there. So
how many were Chad Browns?
Good question. 5.
Yeah. So Chad Brown has won this race more than Europeans or North Americans the last 16 years.
5 of the 12 have been 5 of the 12 U.S. victories have been from Chad Brown.
And what about Hard to Justify? Who is the Chad Brown here?
And that's one that I honestly thought kind of went into the race, kind of thinking, okay, that could be one I might pick. I liked her in that last race. I don't know that she. My issue with her is that this is a horse who's not been the favorite. It wasn't like she was like, oh, this is the horse, one of those like dominant. I feel like she has kind of exceeded the expectations and it kind of gets into this race kind of by, well, I mean, she keeps winning. So, and again, like she could very well win, but I don't have the confidence in like a lot of the Chad Brown's horses that he's brought here.
Yeah. She was 7-1.
Right.
In the Miss Gorillo.
Yep.
And she's 6-1 tomorrow.
Yep.
And she broke from the 1 post in the Miss Gorillo and had a perfect trip. She's breaking from the 12 post tomorrow.
Yep.
To me, it's just the price is wrong, right? Like if she was even money in that race and broke from the outside and won, okay, we can talk about this price. But the trip is going to be worse. That race wasn't that fast.
Yep.
The post is significantly worse today than it was that day, and she wants to be forwardly placed. It's not easy to win at Santa Anita going a mile when you're going into that turn really quickly. When you're all the way on the 12 post and forwardly placed, there's no chance she gets the rail. There's no chance she saves grounds either turn. She has to be the best horse by lengths to win from that post, and the price doesn't dictate that trip.
You're right.
Yeah, it's to me again. It's like she very like would have been shocked if she won. Absolutely not.
No,
like, I'm not saying that. Based off of you're taking a price regression.
Yes.
And you're happy everything went perfect for her that day.
And it's expensive, except it's only more difficult today.
Oh.
I mean, that's like tougher field, worse post, worse price.
Right.
That's a bad combination.
Yep.
So all right. So this is easily the toughest race of the 5 Breeders' Cup races. At least as far as like it's a great race because there's so much to pick from, right? And if you're playing the sequence, say you're playing the pick 5 of the Breeders' Cup races. This to me is one like especially with tomorrow in the last race. Say you go there, and then you got the Euros, you got Booth or whoever you like in that race, and then you got the Euros in the next one. You could potentially go like single this one, 2 or 3, 2 maybe even.
Mm-hmm.
So you
single next race.
All right. Well, there you go.
Let's
We'll
talk
get
about
to that one, but this is the race, right? You got to go. You got to spread.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna play a press pick 5, so $5 pick 5. I'm going 3 deep in that here. I'm going 4, 6, 11. Those are the 3 horses I think are the most logical winners. But it's also the deepest I'm gonna go in that ticket because I do think you need some coverage in here, and as long as you get through this leg, if you're pressing through, you're gonna make some money. If I'm going 50 center here, yeah, this is probably gonna be my 5 or 6 horse leg. I mean, it's just because I want it to be deep. However, I have a 15-1 on top, so I'm also gonna get aggressive on some tickets and single to 4 because it gives me a massive advantage in pick 4, pick 5, and pick 6 tickets. If I have a 15-1 single, it allows me to spread around, and if I can beat tomorrow and I have the 4 single, I'm in line for a big payday.
All right, so to recap, how much you like the 4 Aline
Launay.
Lane. Halterman, you've got the 9, Carlos Way, correct?
Mhm.
And give me the 3. How do you say? Is it Buchu?
Buchu.
Buchu. Okay.
It's actually Pikachu's pet.
Oh, I did not know that. In fact, I don't believe you. All right, you're up. Race 8, Samich.
Oh,
Come on. Where's the
race
voice?
8, the Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Juvenile, going a mile and 16th over the dirt course. Purse $2 million for 2-year-olds. Colts, males, steeds.
Oh, okay, great, thank you. Was waiting for you. I didn't know how long you were going to go with that one. All right, we got a field of 11 lined up here. You kind of alluded to you could single in this one. You know, prices galore. I mean, no matter who you like in here, you're going to get your price. 7-2 on Lock, 4-1 on Timberlake, 6-1 on Fierceness, which is probably the wild card of the race, considering how good he was on debut, how bad he was last time out. Of course, you got the 3 Baffords in here: Prince of Monaco, Wind Me Up, and Muth. You know, this is one of those races that just who do you like? Take your pick. Take the price, right? Whoever you like, no matter who you pick in this race, it's playable, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier. It's this kind of feels like bowl season in college football. It kind of feels like March Madness in basketball.
Yep.
You pick a conference and you lean on it. In this spot, you've got we'll call it 7 of the top contenders coming out of 3 separate preps. You've got the Breeders' Futurity at Keeneland, Locked, and the Wine Steward came out of that race. Wind Me Up and Muth both come out of the Grade 1 American Pharoah. The Champagne has Timberlake, has Locked, and Timberlake, their general partner, Timberlake and Fierceness all coming out of it. Those 7 horses coming out of 3 prep races really define your handicap. What prep race do you think was best? And then Prince of Monaco is the wild card, who did not compete in any of those, but beat Muth 2 back. So you're in my mind, when you get in these spots, you're going to see these horses run together again.
Mm-hmm.
It's which race was fastest, which race did you think produced the best horses? That's the way to attack exotics in these spots, because you're rarely going to see an interweaving of those 3 races and the winner of this race and the second place finisher of this race. No, it's usually going to be the first and second place finisher of the race will run 1-2 or run 1-3. You may get one horse in the middle there. So it's all about analyzing what prep you like the most here leading into this race.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that makes it very interesting. And then, like, as far as which prep you like, it does get a little bit blended when you have a horse like Prince of Monaco who, you know, beat Muth, but then we hadn't seen since. And what is that horse? Or I mean, hasn't faced him since that race. And kind of these horses are so tricky. As a 2-year-old, you kind of alluded to it, Halterman, with the fillies. It's like a lot can change in one race with these fillies. A lot or these juveniles. More so than you see as they're older, you know, because they're more developed and more established. But these, they can do something funky in one race, and then the next race, well, we saw it with Muth. Look how different of a horse he looked in his last start versus the way where Prince of Monaco beat him. And that purely was just him kind of figuring out his shit, right? And that can happen overnight, seemingly, with these 2-year-olds. So sometimes I think, what I like with my handicap, it's like, don't always look at it like, okay, and that's what makes Fierceness, by the way, kind of just completely a
wild card.
Because you're like, well, that was almost too bad to believe.
And the
We
first
know
was
he's
too good
talented.
to believe.
Exactly.
Like,
so where's he at?
Yeah.
And what's going to show up? Like, is the talent going to show up? Did he quit last time because of the slop? Did he quit because he didn't get to the lead?
Well, it's interesting because with that horse, wins by 11 lengths on debut, and that was in the slop, comes back.
I know, right? City Light, Colt, you think.
Isn't very good in the Champagne. You're like, oh, I'm gonna completely cross out because that race was in slop. Well, guess what? The second and third place finishers both came back to win.
Mm-hmm.
They did it on fast tracks.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, are you sure you're really ready to just kind of dismiss that performance because of the Champagne?
Well, I think with him, he's like bright work, right?
Maybe
it's just like he's just kind of just like I'm just gonna try to ignore it and hope he gets back there and gets it done that way. You know, and goes back to that maiden. Jared talked about it at the very first of the year. BU, that was the horse that Fletcher liked the best, and now and Locked was in that same race that BU was in up at Saratoga, and BU was able to beat Locked. BU has done nothing really since. Locked has come back to win a maiden and a stakes. They never really know, you know, until they actually get out there on the track and do it. Yeah, I mean, Magic Samich, you were talking about, you know, analyzing the prep races, and that's why I fell on Timberlake, the 4-horse. Do I think the Champagne was that strong of a race from the people, from the horses behind him? No, not really. But I think Timberlake looked about as good as anything, if not better. I do. I love how he tucked behind horses. I love how he waited patiently, and I love how he just dominated the race. So I thought his replay was the most impressive. I wasn't 100% impressed with Locke. I was fairly impressed, but I could not get all the way with him. Didn't want to take him as the favorite. I can't get a read on the two Bafferts. I'm just going to admit it. I just can't.
So with Timberlake, no concern. Best race in the slop, hasn't gone 2 turns yet?
No, none.
The 2 turns thing scares me with Timberlake. It's one of my – I also think that was the worst of the 3 preps.
I can't sit here and say Tamara doesn't scare me going 2 turns, but Timberlake does. It's just, it is what it is.
I mean, the Champagne hasn't typically been a race to produce a juvenile type horse.
We've never had a Breeders' Cup winner coming out of a Belmont at Aqueduct race yet.
That's true.
Well, there you go. We have such a long
though,
horses to look at.
And here's the deal. I get it. Good Magic ran in the Champagne. He came out here and won. I mean,
it was at Belmont then, though.
That is true. But what I'm saying is, it's these. If it was never in 100 years, or well, 30, 40 years, I guess, Breeders' Cup that it's happened, then okay, it's never. But it has happened. It's not like it's impossible. Look, I don't take it. Oh, they ran in the Champagne, so he can't win. I just look at their replays. He looked like the best horse on the replays. I readily admit, if Muth wins, not going to be shocked at all. Prince of Monaco, not going to be shocked at all. Even Locked, I wouldn't be shocked. But again, I just thought Timberlake looked best on the replays. I think he's going to get the perfect trip. I think he's going to be tough to hold off.
So one of the more interesting trends that I uncover each year of this year is, and frankly, it's been this way, for many years, is 6 of the last 7. The only horse not in that is Corniche. That juvenile winners have been entered. I say that very specifically, entered in the Kentucky Derby the next year. Now, obviously, Forte was entered and then had to scratch. But the point of that is you typically see the winner of this race not be the horse that's like been great up until now, but the horse that you believe is going to be that very strong 3-year-old into the Derby. Halterman, you even said it back like last year about Forte. Well, Forte strikes me as a horse that's going to run really, really well here, and this, and he's going to fizzle out. He kind of did exactly that, right? And so it's more about, and it works the same way backwards. Like, not necessarily a horse that, like Prince of Monaco, maybe not the horse that's like won every race and looks good. It's like, but you really think he's going to go to the Derby and be awesome in the Derby?
Yeah.
Maybe not. So maybe it's more like, maybe you think Timberlake is, or maybe you think Locked is going to be that horse for Pletcher. Whatever it is, I think class wins this race more than anything in like future class.
I just don't know who that is.
Well, I didn't say that's
the thing. Like, it's probably true, but this field, whether you get it right or wrong, I usually have a good feeling going into this race, right? I just do. And again, you might get it like Cave Rock. I got it wrong last year, but I had a good feeling going in. I don't have any kind of a feel for these horses. I just, the slop does kind of confuse things up in New York, but it also doesn't mean you got to just throw them all out. I mean, they couldn't control that it rained that day. I know a lot of people look at Locked and look how he won the Breeders' for Charity and think that looked a lot like Forte. I mean, it looked like it, but you rewatch the race, it's like, I don't know that he has that brilliant turn of foot. I think he's more of a grinded out type.
Yeah. Hot take, the Wine Steward was the better horse in that race. I thought that was a tougher trip. I know Locked had to go wide. The Wine Steward was stuck on the rail, and it's really hard as a 2-year-old, first time going 2 turns, to be buried on the rail both turns and then still be able to make a push.
Yeah.
The Wine Steward responded really well when Locke got by. I thought Locked responded really well when the Wine Steward got by on the inside. I kind of feel like the Wine Steward stopped running a little bit too. And then when Locke re-rallied, he tried to push back and couldn't get it done.
I thought the Wine Steward was going to battle back in that thing.
If you're using one, you should be using both. I think the price on the one is better than the price on Locked if you're going to go for one of the two. I feel like I can separate the Bafferts, and I know that was one of your things where you weren't sure how to figure them out. I think Muth's a monster. I really do. I like when you look at Good Magic and what Good Magic did as a 2-year-old. He sprinted. He wasn't that great. Then he goes mile. Then he goes 2 turns. That's where he excelled. Muth sprinted and was phenomenal. And then tried to sprint again and went way too fast early with a horse that doesn't necessarily want the lead. And Prince of Monaco, who's by the way, bred to be a sprinter or a miler, goes right by, going 6 furlongs. Muth goes 2 turns for the first time. Professional. Rates. Blows by. And I realize Wind Me Up may not be a great horse. Might be a pretty good horse. Hey, at least he's in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. But Muth makes him look like he's standing still. It doesn't completely get asked. The $2 million son of Good Magic out of an Uncle Mo mare. The extra distance is definitely a positive. Now you're getting second out routing here, second time going 2 turns, all the tactical speed in the world, the ability to pass horses, doesn't need an inside trip to be successful.
Drew outside here. So you're going to draw outside any pace and inside. He's going to sit off of it. He showed that last time.
Moose is single to me. If you're pressing, like at 4-1, I think it's a great win bet. Like I think this is the best horse in this race. I think this is the best horse going 2 turns. I think the American Fair was the best prep race of the 3. To me, that just flatters Muth even more. So I'm all over the 10-year.
Well, hey, you know what? I'll piggyback off that because I went into it. I went into that.
That's your boy, Bobby B.
I went into that on Timberlake. And the more I got it, watched the race, and the more I analyzed it, I'm like, you know what? Muth might just be a monster. And so I went completely changed course, put Muth back on top.
Yeah.
And honestly, to what you were kind of saying a second ago, Samich, I even got a little bit talked into to wind me up a little bit underneath. Now, from an underneath perspective, if I really like that much Muth, maybe, and I think I like Prince of Monaco the least out of the 3 in terms of this race. So I kind of like, well, maybe that horse kind of sets some fractions and holds on and tries to get a piece of it.
So there's this turf trainer in New York. Okay, his name's Chad Brown. Don't know if you've heard of him. But every now and then in Grade 1 races, he enters a couple horses. And one of them makes the lead and then sticks around for a really long freaking time.
Yeah.
That's kind of what Bob Baffert's doing here.
Yeah.
And Wind Me Up is the horse that's going to make the lead, and he will do it with reckless abandon because Baffert has 2 other horses in the race.
Yeah.
He could stick around for a really long time here.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I guess here's the problem. I'm kind of out on the 2. I just couldn't get there with, I think the 10's a monster. I think he's good. I'm not sure he's that good. That's where I was at. And end of the day,
are you sure? Are you sure Noted is that good? Are you sure Locked is that good? Are you sure Wine Stewart is?
Well, that's
good?
just it. No, and listen, I think Muth will end up being the favorite. That's my prediction. So I didn't want to take him as the favorite.
Fair.
But he may not be. This is the 4 top horses are so just like even.
I thought it was going to be Prince of Monaco.
It might be. It might be him as well. And if it is, I guess the thing is, if I'm sitting there and it's 1 minute to post and it's Timberlake who's 3-1, I'll be pissed off. I kind of was like, I think he's just as good, if not a little bit better than those horses. And I'm pretty confident he's not going to be the favorite.
Now, right now, overseas, Locked 3-1, Muth 3.5 to 1, Prince of Monaco, Timberlake 4-1.
So it very well could be Locked, and I'm wrong. Again, I'm not saying. I know it's crazy. I would thought Muth would be the favorite.
No, it's fine. Listen, to me, just as a fan, like you guys know, I love this stuff. What I love about Muth is he's the one horse out of this whole field to me that, like, before he debuted, there was talk like he's one of those ones maybe.
Yeah.
And he lost 1 race.
Yeah.
And like that happens. And he didn't like get his, it wasn't like, oh, he's horrible. He lost. And
He ran second.
He came back and kicked ass.
Yeah.
And so look, I totally get it. He might, like, I know what you mean, Aaron. Like, there's a chance he's not like American Fair. I mean, no one's saying that.
Yeah.
But what's exciting is this race is sort of a mess. That's what I'm hearing here. And like, then you go, well, do I really want to go with like, get rid of this one horse who's done like nothing wrong? He came in second.
Yeah.
So I'm excited because tomorrow, what's exciting about this race is if a horse just like blows this field away, we might have a monster on our hands. And if that monster is someone, it's probably Locked or Muth to me, or Timberlake too. I guess you can make a case, Aaron.
Yeah.
So I get where you guys are all coming from.
Well, you got Brad Cox, you got Todd Fletcher, you got Bob Baffert. Being one of those, the horses you just mentioned, we're to do something special tomorrow. Then all of a sudden it's like, wow. And to your point, you're right. Like I think what happened.
The
was,
other 2 were Chad Brown and Mike Baker.
yeah. But which, by the way, I have a comment about the Chad Brown. Is that I think that it's almost like when the expectations, it's like, well, this kid can't do anything wrong. Then you're like, oh, whoa, he lost? Like, he must not be very good now. And then it's like, so I think maybe we went too high on him. Then he lost, and then you're like, okay, well, maybe he's not good at all. And then so then maybe we went too far. as far as the hate on him, and now so maybe it needs to even out a little bit. But I think he is in here with a huge shot. I think he might be. I mean, I'll be the middle grounds. I think he might be a monster.
Well, I don't think you have to be I don't think you have to be a middle.
Yeah.
I don't think you have to be. I'm not necessarily arguing that he's not. I'm just saying I can't decide. I can't figure it out. I think there were parts of that race where he sits off of it. He looked a lot more mature. He looked a lot more, for lack of a better word, he was kind of smarter about it, right? About his approach. And I don't know. It's just at the end of the day, I didn't think he finished up just fantastic. But again, he's an improving horse. That was his first time going 2 turns, all the things you say. I guess what I'm saying is if he wins by 6, I'll be like, that's not surprising.
Yeah.
If he's second or third, it's like, I'm not that surprised. And again, like I said, most years you go into this, like with a Cave Rock, where last year I think we thought he was going to win pretty easily, and he didn't. That surprised me.
Yeah.
If this horse doesn't win, it's not going to be that big of a surprise. If that makes sense.
We got 2 questions in the comments, which are both Fletcher related. So let's talk real quick about the 3 Fletcher entries. One, why is the 11 not running in the turf? I think that's a great question.
Yeah, I don't know.
No
Maybe.
shot here.
No, it was just like maybe I should care about this horse.
Yeah.
Why is the horse here?
And the other one, fierceness, really interesting. I think we touched on fierceness a little bit. Anyone using fierceness underneath here, or like?
I try to talk myself in to do it, and I don't blame anybody that does. Because a lot of times for races like this, I like to look at try to analyze, obviously, which is a great idea, to analyze the pace and who you think, and like we talked about the Wind Me Up, and certainly fierceness could be that horse like maybe gets the lead, falters late, who you think's going to pass him, to play that exactly the other way around or whatever. That's how I kind of do it. And so fierceness, I think at the very least, is a pace presence in the race.
Yeah.
I also think, by the way, just to so before we move on, I think the 8 general partner is somewhat sneaky underneath. I don't love the horse, but I kind of went into it thinking, whatever, like he's an also ran. And then the more I looked at it, I was like, well, I get, like, you like Timberlake, right?
Mhm.
Timberlake went by him that day, but this is a horse that's got a ton of pace. I think that they know that. He's going to be a pace presence in the race. And we've seen weird things where that horse, like you said, well, maybe it's not Wind Me Up that goes really far. Maybe it's this one. Maybe it's fierceness. But I just think someone on this pace is going to hold on to this thing for a long time in this race.
Yeah, ironically, one of the reasons I don't like your horse
It's because
of
of
general partner.
Yeah.
I don't like it all. Like,
Well,
I
and
was like-
look, I will say that because we don't need to talk about this all night. I mean, we got one more race left, but I had the same opinion of you until I kept watching just Timberlake.
And then your opinion of me changed?
No, I'm sorry. The same opinion as you, not of you. But anyway, I just feel like, I don't know. I kept watching Timberlake, and I'm like, yeah, maybe he didn't beat much, but he was really good in that race. He showed a big turn of foot. And if you go back and watch the Hopeful that he lost to a horse he never should have lost to, that was another thing. I had a bad taste in my mouth. I was like, if he lost that race, you go back and watch it. He ran exceptionally well in the Hopeful.
Well, you think about, I think about that race, and you think back to like Forte almost.
Oh.
You think about back to Forte almost, where Forte in his Saratoga races there, when he did like the one that he struggled in specifically was pace dependent.
Yeah.
And it was horses that were forwardly placed that won. Forte was the only one that closed.
Mm-hmm.
In that Hopeful, it collapsed, and he was the only one that stuck around.
Yeah.
So it's that situation where you have the horse who is against the overall bias of the race. I mean, Nutella Fella,
awesome name.
Comes from the clouds,
Yeah.
dead last, and the whole time Timberlake was within a length of the pace the entire race, going 22, 44, and 4, 1, and 10 and 4. So there's talent there. I just think Timberlake's better 1 turn than 2. I mean, that's
Okay, so before we move on, I've seen 1,000, maybe not that many, but 1,000 comments about the Wine Stewart. I feel like we've talked about him a little bit, but they are talking about the one enough. I mean, this is a horse that you mentioned a second ago that, if you like Locked, you got to like this one, right? You think this horse could win? Do you think this horse can play and be underneath? I mean, a lot of people there's a lot of comments in here, kind of surprising the amount of comments that have said they think he's the winner.
so I think the 10's winning. I think Muth is like I mentioned on Play a Press Pick 5. I'm singling Muth, right? I have the 1 in second in this race.
Yeah.
I think the Wine Stewart has the ability. Like I would have Wind Me Up in second if there wasn't so much speed around Wind Me Up, but because of all the speed I think you're going to get early, I think it sets up really well for the wine steward. Luis Saez, very good at getting a tactical trip. This horse has tactical speed. He's going to save ground on the inside, has a kick late. I think learned a ton from that Breeders' Futurity.
Yep.
I think the one has a huge shot here. I just think the 10 is a really, really good horse, and that's going to be to the detriment of the 1.
Yep.
It's funny how you really can talk yourself into about any horse in here. That's why it's that good of a race. If you don't have
this is the whole weekend. That's the thing. Like,
Yeah.
This is the whole weekend.
I think
Like,
this one more so than some of the other ones. Though. But
Yeah.
yes, I agree. Yeah, I'm not
you
arguing.
can project so much more with 2-year-olds because it's
Yes.
like, oh, they're going to take a step forward.
Yes.
Like, you can make up all your
Yes.
bibbidi bullshit, and you're going to be able to figure out who's going to be able to take a step forward.
All right, so we've talked a lot. First pick, our top pick here. You got Muth, right? Samich?
Yeah, move.
Timberlake for you.
Timberlake for me.
Muth for me as well on top. All right, Samich, race number 9, the last Breeders' Cup race of the day.
The Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf going 1 mile over the turf course. Purse $1 million for 2-year-olds.
There you go. Thank you very much, Mr. Samich. You got a field of 14 here, and like I mentioned a second ago, for whatever reason, this is a race. Whereas the Phillies, Juvenile Fillies turf, has been dominant by the U.S. This one is the international playground. This is they dominate this race. We see it year in, year out, seems like, and you've got several options. Aiden's got a pair in here with the 2 River Tiber and what's the other one? Oh, you have 3 unquestionable, but those are the 2 main ones. And Mountain Bear obviously in there as well. To me, that's where you have to start when you handicap this race. When I first looked at the pre-entries, I was between unquestionable and River Tiber. I think with Ryan Moore opting to ride River Tiber, that's where I kind of landed with that one. But would you like to comment, Halterman?
It's his fault. No.
No. Okay. Oh, your turn, buddy.
Look,
Read your text messages. You'll see why.
Look, this is a lot of fun race. I agree with you. This is the international playground here. This is one where you've got to like the international horses who are coming in. There's 2 in here specifically that I give a huge shot. Unquestionable, 4-1. Aiden O'Brien shipping in. I'm surprised isn't the favorite. I thought Unquestionable was going to be the favorite in this spot. River Tiber gets that honor. The two horse here, 3-1. Also Aiden O'Brien. Ryan Moore riding. I am like, okay, so first off, if Van Dijk came over, that would have been your favorite. That's the horse River Tiber lost to the last 2 times. So totally respect that. I've kind of fallen in love with Tok Tok, the 3 horses, an American. I'm not sure Tok Tok can win, but this is a horse when you go back and you watch the last race, the Bourbon at Keeneland, the trip was absolutely brutal. I mean, it was stuck on the inside, had to weave through horses, got stopped again in the lane. And the fact that Motion sends this horse back here after going in that race, I think tells you how much faith he has in Tok Tok. So that's what I want to use underneath. But to me, this really comes down to the 8 Unquestionable and the 2-horse River Tiber on top, and which hero you like.
Yeah, I mean, just to further that, I did go back and watch that replay of Tok Tok, and it's insane. I mean, that horse, I don't know if the horse was going to win or not, but never even ran a step really down the lane because he couldn't run anywhere.
Tried
several times. He just kept getting stopped, and finally Velasquez was just kind of like, all right, well, another day. But for me, it's the internationals. It's the 2 Aiden O'Briens. I look at those 2 as being just a notch ahead of what we have over here, and it's been proven over the years that when you have horses that look like this coming in, they're hard to beat. And we don't have an extremely elite group of U.S. horses in this race. We don't have that Chad Brown horse, or we don't have that that horse that's kind of been rattling off wins left and right over here. We don't have a lot of that. Where we do have is some international flavor that I think is going to be tough to beat. Look,
I really thought Ryan Moore would ride Unquestionable, and I thought that was going to be my horse, and then Ryan Moore jumps to the
same,
and so I'm like, look, I just had to go with that. I think the 2 and the 8 stand out. Listen, we talked about the Phillies, the Juvenile Fillies on the turf. America could win. International horses could win. A 30-1 could win. I mean, that's just how I feel about that race. This race, I think it's a 2-horse race. I don't like. And again, they could win. Obviously, it's a Breeders' Cup. I don't love our horses. We're talking about United States horses in this race. I really like the O'Briens. I think they're going to put on a show. I went 2-8. I think it's really hard to separate them.
Yeah, as a space boost feel, right? Like where you have that horse coming over.
It does.
It's just the best horse, right?
Yeah.
The last, who was the train wreck horse at Del Mar?
Well, Modern Games. I mean,
it's that feeling with these two horses.
Well, yeah, exactly. There's two instead of one. But
Yeah.
and again, I know like people, Juveniles is on the turf. Like we really want to try to get fancy here, but when it's that kind of situation, you have that feeling. You kind of just got to go with the horses you think are the best. And think even last year, the Aiden horse and I can't think of his name off the top of my head. And Silver Knot, the horse for Appleby, hit the wire together there, and that was another situation. Those two horses just felt better than the rest of that field, and I don't want to be negative towards the United States horses. That's not what I want to come on here and do, but I have not liked this division from us all year long, and I would be pretty surprised if we get this done.
Victoria Road.
Yeah.
And by the way, Silver Knot running on the undercard.
I know, and I did not pick Silver Knot. Did you pick Silver Knot? Fourth, yeah.
Real quick
Yeah.
question. Don't look at your forms. The high buyer figure for the Fillies of a North American horse was 85.
Mm-hmm.
That was the Sherry DeVille filly. What's the high colt figure in
Of
this
the
race?
US
Of
horses?
the North American horses?
83.
Share 84.
Carson's Run got an 80.
See, and we talked about
Yeah.
it with She Feels Pretty, right? That 80 was also at Woodbine,
Yeah,
and we
85.
always
Yeah.
pause it for a second. That's no offense to Woodbine, but that form is sometimes can be funky, and so 80.
80
Yeah.
from Carson's Run, who also, by the way, at Woodbine.
Yep.
And the other one is
That's
an
what
80.
I just said.
The Carson's Run, but so is, I thought you were talking about She Feels Pretty's 85 is at Woodbine. Anyway, and Endlessly, the other 80 at
Time
Santa
to go to
Anita.
bed. What? Who was it?
Endlessly. The California. So
Which-
like,
And is a California horse going to win that turf?
is an 85 buyer going to win this turf race?
No.
I mean, I don't
I'm
think
like,
Yeah,
no,
I would be
low 90s. Like
I would be if we're sitting here tomorrow with an 85 buyer winning, we'll be pretty disappointed.
Yeah, so someone has to
Yeah.
jump up over
Yeah.
10% from the North American contingent. And that's why if you're going to take a shot, someone like Tok Tok, who's coming off a 68 buyer, is like take a crazy shot. Don't take a shot where someone has to step up after they run their best race.
Yeah, just for let me look at this. Silver Knot what was the buyer he got for that race? What race was that? 2, right? He got an 85 and he got second. So I'm gonna get I guess like an 86, 87 won the
'cause they
race
were
last
bothered,
year.
Yeah,
And so we don't have. I mean, American horses are gonna have to run a buyer
they got to improve by 10%.
that they haven't ran yet.
Yeah, it's hard to think they're going to do it in this type of setting.
And just to further the point that I think we're all making at this point, you look at the Juvenile Turf. It's such. I mentioned it in the opening there. It's such a dominant European based trend. You got 12 of the 16-year history have been won by the Euros. 12 of 16, and 12 of those 12 winners, 8 times were won by Aiden O'Brien or Appleby. 8 of the 12. Appleby doesn't have any in this one, but Aiden's got a few. And so to me, it just feels like Aiden's got the group over a barrel. It's just a matter of picking for me, it's
The right one.
Picking the right one.
Yeah.
Right?
That's why I played them both. I was like, I'm not gonna bet a win on.
I think it's gonna be. I think it's very similar to last year, where you have the two that kind of separate
Yeah.
from the field, and you're just which one is it?
These are also not dead closers either.
No.
They're both horses that have tactical speed.
Yeah,
And if you're
yeah.
looking to beat a European horse in one of these races, you want them to be slow. And you have to work a trip out with a big field. And that's just not the case with either of these horses. They both are fast.
Well, now one thing I'll point out, because I saw somebody talking about Agate Road, however you say that horse's name, and you mentioned why is Noted not in the turf when we're talking about the Juvenile.
Yeah.
I think it's because they had this horse for the turf, Agate Road, and I ran a board, and I think they thought, well, we'll just split them up.
So does that make you move Agate Road up?
I think for me, I moved him up. I don't think he's going to win. I think his running style, he will pick up some pieces. I don't know if he gets third, fourth, something like that. I do think a lot of times, at least in my opinion, closers kind of get hurt on speed figures. They never get those big speed figures. I think that might be part of the reason why his numbers are a little low. I think he'll run a little bit better than we think.
Yeah, and I think from the start, just the way he was winning the races, and you kind of naturally like that's never, you can't rely on that every race, and so I've kind of downgraded him. Really on every start of his, like, I don't think that horse can do it moving forward, and he just continues to win. So I'm kind of with you. I think picking up the pieces is as far as underneath. I don't think that'd be out of question. If he were to win, I think I'd be somewhat surprised.
Yeah, I mean, you look at who
I agree with that.
Like it's horses that are 30-1 and 20-1 that ran second and third behind him last time. And so it's like, do I really want to take him at sub 10-1 here against a significantly more difficult field?
Probably not.
Probably
No.
not.
I mean, and again, I said I brought him up, but with the whole fact that I'm on the 2-8.
Any interest in speed here? My boy Prince probably going to make the lead. Does you see a horse that can hang around for a long time?
Mm.
I don't have a lot of.
I don't
interest in
know.
it, no.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm honestly, I think I'm too fixated on the 2 Euros there. The 2 8 we talked about. I just think these two are going to kind of do what they want with this group. I do think, and you mentioned a little bit, like if I was picking an American horse, it'd be Carson's Run, and I don't think that's like going out on a limb at all. But you know, the horse has done very little wrong, runs well. I certainly think he could be. Say you wanted to play him in second or something, maybe one of the Euros fires and the other one doesn't or whatever. Like I think that's possible. I think he's a nice horse. I just don't think he can win either.
Can I spin you one more tale?
Spin it, man.
So once there was this European trainer
Okay.
who brought over 4 horses
Everyone.
to run in the Breeders' Cup Mile.
Okay.
His name was Aiden O'Brien, and he won with a 99-1 shot that day. I think it was actually 60-1. What about Mountain Bear? What about the other Aiden O'Brien? Both of the Aiden O'Briens,
yeah.
And you've got a third one. Why is this horse here if the other 2 are so good?
Great name.
Excellent name.
Yeah. I think Kevin B, I think, made that comment. He's like, I don't know. That's weird.
It's really interesting that this horse shows up, considering like you both think Aiden has this race over a barrel.
Yeah.
Yet he brought a third horse.
No, I agree.
Maybe he just wanted the horse to have a free trip over or something, like the owners.
Someone paid for it.
Well, the owners, he didn't know, No, I mean, that's a good point. I honestly, I went through, when I went through the pre-entries, I watched every one of these international horses, and that was just one let's be honest, I never really liked whenever I watched. Like, I don't know. Like, I just don't think this thing about him is like when he stepped up in competition, he didn't run particularly well, and he ran well on the last one, but that was on a synthetic surface. I mean, it's a good point. I'm gonna let him beat me if he does.
Mm-hmm.
So. I think we always talk about the other Chad Brown, right?
Yeah.
And this is a situation where you guys both are dead set. These are the 2 best horses, and yet the trainer flew a third one into. I just think it's worth mentioning.
2 for 1 deal.
It's not. It would be 3 for 2 deal. It's not like Ryan Moore didn't ride that horse too. Like he rode the horse 4 times.
And who did he choose to ride this race?
Well, I mean, I like the horse he didn't choose, so that tells you, how smart he is. But so at least this was thought of at the top stock of the O'Brien barn if Moore's getting bounced.
All right, top pick this race.
Oh, it's unquestionable.
It's unquestionably
Just make that joke.
River Tiber for me.
It's unquestionably River Tiber for me. So,
all right, at least one of us will be right.
Well, hey, you know what? We'll take it. Well, as long as one of us can say we were right. All right, so I got a question here. That is the 5 races of the Breeders' Cup on Friday. Just keep in mind, we will be back tomorrow after the races, recapping what we saw. As obviously, we'll be looking at Saturday's races as well. Similar time. We'll be on live tomorrow as well. I believe I lost it. Kevin, there it is. Kevin wants to know top pick. I think it's pretty simple. Out of the 5 Breeders' Cup races today or on Friday, who's our top play? I think it's tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow's the most likely winner. Muth is the best bet because of price differences.
Yeah.
Okay.
For me
fair.
personally.
Yeah.
I'll say most likely winner tomorrow. I really think the 9 Carla's Way is, if that price holds at 6-1 or close, I think that's a juicy price on a horse that I think if she fires her top race, I don't think they're beating her. So I'll go Carla's Way.
I see people talking about Carla's Way having throat surgery. Does that affect anything?
She had it way back. I mean, in July, I think, or July or August. So I think she improved her when she had it.
You're not going to see a bump in this race because of it. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
This, if that's your
A lot of times, horses having throat surgery is a positive thing. It helps them breathe better during the races. So you'll see that as a common issue if the horse is having some type of constraint in their windpipe.
I'll say this, like it's from a betting perspective, the race that I'm probably the most excited. It'd be close between playing in the straight tomorrow over Candy, or playing in this one personally, the River Tiber over Unquestionable Straight. I mean, I just think there's some bet like there's value in that in both of those. But frankly, this one's gonna that exact day will pay like 15 to 1 at least.
The river tide.
Yeah. And then to me, it's like, okay, that's how you make, that's how you do it, right? And I think you're getting 6, 7, 8 to 1 on the tomorrow over Candy. And like that's what I get excited about playing those straight exactas, because there's not a lot of value on picking her to win. Obviously, Muth is a great bet if you play him. But from an exacta standpoint, those are the two that I'm most excited to play on Friday. So,
what do you think the Muth into River Tiber unquestionable double pays?
I think it pays.
Think we get 20 to 1?
Yeah.
If it goes 10-8?
Yeah.
I think
Maybe
15 at
10,
the bottom. 15 at the
10.
bottom. Yeah.
15 to 30, somewhere in there, depending on.
I don't know,
Yeah.
but again,
Depends on how the odds are bet on those 2 euros.
out of all these races, the Juvenile is the one I'm most confused about. Who's actually going to take money? Like we talk about morning lines all the time because we know John White, and I think that had to be one of the hardest morning lines to make. And I don't know. It's going to be odd. It's going to be really odd to see how that's been. It's just an odd race because usually in that situation you put the Baffert as the favorite, but there's just so many question marks.
Which one?
And that's the problem. There's 2.
3.
Well, there's 2 that you would make the favorite. The 2 that you could potentially make the favorite. And so anyway, it's just weird. It's a weird race. Anyway, we better get off here because it's starting to fade
I
again.
know, I don't like it.
Yeah, we're gonna leave.
We've covered all the races, so we'll get the technicians out here tomorrow, right?
We're still doing it, but we're at like 1 bar. Last time I did this, it faded out.
What happens if you don't have magic?
No,
I'm
I'm mad.
There we go.
I don't know. Are we back?
Yeah, we're back.
Wow.
We're good.
It's
Yeah, you know, just a
you've
little-
been there the entire time. Yeah.
Hopefully they hear all the things I said there. All right, guys. Again, that's all the time we have. Check us out at racenews.com. Free picks. Get the betting Bible. Go get the betting Bible. All the picks we just talked about. Samish has got his top 4 in there. Halter and I got our top 4 in there. We also have every bet, how we're playing on Friday and Saturday, of course. All the trends that I talked about, that's all included into the betting Bible as well. So if you want each trend for each race, make sure you go check out the betting Bible at racenews.com. You get it for free if you are a premium subscriber, or you can get access to that on its own. We'll be live tomorrow. What time are we going to be live tomorrow?
What time's the last post?
I have no idea.
I don't
Can we
know.
shoot for like 8 o'clock
No.
Pacific?
It's going to be.
No, let's try to do 7.
Last post is 5 o'clock. So we'll probably do 7 o'clock.
7, yeah, that'd be good.
7 Pacific tomorrow.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for that. It's a very loosey-goosey time, but we'll try to stick with that. And Magic Mike show. I'll let you plug it. Come on.
Yeah, go check out the Magic Mike Show. Got a late pick 5. We recorded on Wednesday. Get Magic Mike's thoughts on the late pick 5 for Saturday's races. It's a lot of fun. So make sure to check it out anywhere you get podcasts. Over on YouTube, /Race News.
I mean, the voice is just
So
so
professional.
buttery. You know,
Yeah.
it just
I get that a lot.
Buttery?
buttery.
It is a common adjective.
That was
Thank you.
on.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right.
You know what? He's just not with the times. All right, guys.
No. Clearly.
Until tomorrow, I'm Jared Welch. He's Mike Salma. He's Brian Stillman. He's Aaron Alter. He's She's Shoddy. Any comments for anyone that didn't talk? You guys want to? Are you excited for your first Breeders' Cup?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
First time in California. First time meeting most of the dudes.
Yeah.
Magic. What?
Yeah.
Come
Screw
on, man.
Magic.
Come on,
One
man.
left. One Magic's left. Yeah.
The magic is gone.
We're replacing Magic with Shoddy. I think. Is what
Yeah.
we should
Oh
do.
no.
Did you bring the lidocaine?
Oh, 100%.
Good.
All right, guys. Until next time. Good luck tomorrow at the Breeders' Cup. We'll see you again tomorrow night.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Blinkers Off. Join our horse racing community at racingdudes.com and follow us on Twitter at @racing_dudes. Want to make money betting horses? Bet with the Racing Dudes.